Hi everyone, and welcome to your second lecture on rolling robots and culture. And last week we talked about robots and empathy and personification. And this week we're going to talk about gender. Because when we personify a robot, when we connect to it, we tend to gender it female as a general rule in society. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that is. And the article is going to argue it is because in dominant Western culture, we see women as more human than men, more able to show emotion, more able to connect, more able to empathize, more able to care for others. And for this reason, when we deem this robot connected to us, we gender that relationship feminine. And now in some ways, this can be dangerous for how we understand women in society, because oftentimes, almost all the time, robots are created to serve us and make our lives easier. And for that reason, the idea of robots always being women can reinforce this idea as women being objects that serve us. And that's a risk. But that doesn't mean because you gender robots in your life as women that you are sexist, or that you want women to serve you, or that you want to objectify them. What it does show is the dominant understandings of our culture, of how our culture sees women. Now, while this might be a dominant trait that we find most robots are gendered female by their owners, we have to remember that this happens through interactions. It's not a natural order of things. Human beings communicating with one another reinforce ideas, reinforce meaning, reinforce truth, reinforce expectations, and the more we keep reiterating them to one another, the more they just become natural in what most people do. And this process is called performativity. And the idea that we keep performing what something is, what its identity is, what its meanings are, and it becomes so natural, it just becomes the natural order of how we see things. But there's nothing really natural about it. We made it, and we can undo it. We can undo it the very way it was created, through resisting it in our human interactions. And I'll give an example. When I was in college, the idea of non-binary, or someone choosing a pronoun they, or not identifying as male or female, was so foreign. I'd never heard of it before. But now, it's in Huffington Post and BuzzFeed and on the news and in Teen Vogue. And this idea that there aren't two binary genders, that people can shift in their gender identity, that it's fluid, is fairly ubiquitous. And while there still are dominant ideas of male and female, we're disrupting it. And here's a large-scale disruption that's just happened over time through people's resistance, through people's changing how they're interacting with one another to now they is in the dictionary as a singular pronoun. So I'll tell another little example that I always smile at. We got a robot vacuum a couple of years ago, and when I saw that robot vacuum, I named it Rocco. Why did I name it Rocco? Because I lived in a convent in Italy for about 8 months when I was in college in a study abroad program. And the gardener, groundskeeper, and the floor cleaner of this huge convent was named Rocco. And I loved Rocco because when I was out late at night and Rocco heard me trying to climb the gate to get in, he let me back in. And I loved Rocco for that. And so when I saw this robot that was going to be cleaning our floors, I thought of Rocco. And I found out it was interesting. So my friend said, "Your vacuum is one of the only vacuums I know that has a boy's name." And I said, well, that's because I had a relationship. I had an interaction that I connected with a man that cleaned my floors. And so how do we undo all this idea of always seeing robots as just female? Well, we change our interactions. We think about it, we reflect, we talk to one another, and our ideas of gender identity, just like our ideas of the binary male and female, can be problematized and can change. So with that, let's talk about gender and robots. You have both a quiz as well as a discussion board, and then you also have an infographic to tie everything together. I'll talk to you soon.